Hi, and welcome to the Brisbane Professionals Podcast. This is a podcast brought to you by SMS Law, going through the legal secrets that will benefit you and your clients, as well as having a little bit of fun as we go. This podcast is designed to educate you on, number one, complicated legal terms that we will explain in an easy to understand manner. Two, to understand why you do things from a legal perspective in your business. And three, to help you develop a plan for the future success of your business. Our mission is to help empower small to medium-sized businesses around the world to get access to legal advice so that they can help build their communities and make the world a better place. Did you know that any business owner is on average 7 months away from losing everything? That is the average time that it takes from a successful business to fold when an aspect of their business is not set up correctly. This podcast is all about empowering you and your business with knowledge and tools to ensure that that doesn't happen to you or to your clients. Let's begin, shall we?
Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Brisbane Professional Podcast. My name is Craig Mason from SMS Law, and I have with me, as always, Jeremy Stretton. Please say hello to all our listeners, Jeremy.
Hello, all our listeners. Hope you're having an awesome day.
Thank you, Jeremy. In today's show, we wanted to talk about buying property, sort of going on from the previous shows. And this is in the context of you've got a contract, you've placed an offer, it's accepted, and now what's the actual process for that property to be transferred into your name, essentially. So there is a process that needs to be followed. Most of what we'll talk about today is really Queensland orientated, but the same principles generally apply when buying property. So Jeremy, You've found a property, everything's been accepted, and now you're thinking of signing the purchase contract. What's the sort of things you need to remember when doing
So
that?
in the context of investing in property, the first thing, and we've talked about this in previous shows, is around what entity is going to buy the property. Are you going to buy it in your own name? Are you going to buy it in a company, a trust? What's the entity that you're going to buy it in? And make sure that you know that before you sign the contract. Because if you don't, then it can be very difficult to change the contract later on. So make sure that you've decided that before you sign the contract and that you get some advice around that because it's super important. The other thing that you want to do before you're signing a contract is really just check out the conditions. Most people, when they're buying property, need some sort of finance condition in their contract. So that means that it's the contract is subject to you obtaining finance approval for the purchase of the property. And you want to make sure that that is watertight, that if you can't get finance, that you can get out of the contract. So making sure that that's done correctly is super important going forward. And also having what we call a building and pest inspection, and actually going in and inspecting the building and making sure that there's no obvious flaws in the property. When you're buying, say, a commercial property, you might also want to consider having what we call the due diligence clause, which gives you time to really investigate all the other aspects of the property to make sure that you're getting what you're buying. Especially if it's a tenanted property, you want to make sure that that lease that the tenant's got is, whether it be residential or commercial, is listed in the contract so that you've got a chance to actually review it. So there's quite a few things you need to remember, and it is dependent on the type of contract and the type of property you're going to buy. But they're the general things that you need to consider. So Craig, do you want to talk about what's important when choosing a conveyancer? Because that's really important to make sure you get the right conveyancer going forward.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is when you're signing a contract, normally you put down for a residential one at least the details of who you have acting for you as the buyer. So that's when you need to select who it is. So the contract gets sent on to that conveyancer. So when considering that, we always say, well, you're looking at the purchase price. You're about to spend usually a large sum of money. So you want to make sure you get a conveyancer that's going to do the conveyance properly, that all the searches are going to be done, and that's complete full searches. And they're, the sort of searches, and Jeremy will touch on it, but sometimes not all the full searches are done. So make sure you're getting all the searches done so you know exactly what you're dealing with when you're buying this property. And if there is something on there, then you might be able to terminate the contract. You want to, and I guess it's hard to know at the beginning, but someone that's going to keep you up to date communicate regularly and has a system in place where they follow that, so you're aware of what's happening. Someone that's got a good relationship with the agent as well is also helpful. So everyone's sort of working towards the common goal of getting you that property. So yeah, various things to consider, not just a cost thing. You also want to make sure it's going to be done properly. So plenty of conveyancers out there, but check them out before you engage with one. Talk to the agents, talk to other people that have used other conveyancers and get a recommendation from them. So you've chosen your conveyancer and then it's handed over to them, Jeremy, and what are they going to do next?
One of the main things that they'll do, as you know, Craig, will be to do searches on the property to make sure, and I said it a few times, that you're getting what you think you are when you're buying the property. So the conveyancer should give you, or will give you, a good list of searches that you can do, and they'll be able to go through with you and tell you which searches are necessary and which ones aren't. Then you get your searches back and you look at the government records to make sure that there are no problems with the property. And if there are, then you can ask questions and talk to various people about it. And the other part is, who talks to the banks as well to organise settlement? Well, the truth of it is that both you and your conveyancer deal with the banks. So you need to help sort out your finance when you're buying, and you need to sign all the paperwork. But then the lawyers usually, or the conveyancer, deals with the bank to get everything over the line for the settlement. So yeah, that's a broad brush of and what you need to do. Really important though that you get someone who can actually help you do that, Craig. And then the final question that a lot of people ask is, do the client actually attend the settlement process?
Look, I guess the answer to that is you could if you really wanted to, but it's not as exciting as you probably think. So it's really just a handover of documents at a settlement agent's premises. Checks are exchanged, etc. There is another electronic process called PEXA, where it's all done electronically and you don't actually physically attend the actual settlement. So generally, no, you don't need to or attend the actual settlement. That's all handled by the conveyancer. This is not the time to attempt doing the conveyancing yourself. We would always recommend that you get a conveyancer involved. This is what they do all day, every day. They understand the system. They understand what needs to be done. Again, you're about to buy something that could be the largest investment that you've ever made. So definitely to get the advice and have the conveyancer run through the process and to get you to settlement so you can get the property. So yeah, I think that's it for the process of buying a property, Jeremy, unless you've got anything else you wanted to add.
No, I think that's a good summation for our listeners.
Excellent. All right. Thank you for joining us. Please like SMS Law on Facebook, follow us on Twitter that is, and search for us on LinkedIn. If you do feel so inclined to rate and review the podcast, we welcome all reviews and ratings, and hopefully you'll give it a 5-star. If not, please give some feedback to the show as well about other things that we could talk about, or if you want us to change anything that we're currently doing. So welcome to any feedback. All right, Jeremy. Thank you. We're done.
Thank you, Craig.